Entitlement reaches all walks of life, as you'll find out in this episode of Entitled People. Our first one is from Vizance. I work as an engineer. I do some consulting on the side, but typically only for people I know and as a favor. A good friend asked me to help with his in-laws who were doing some fairly massive renovations and additions. I agreed solely because he asked me to. This is not something I have an interest or need in doing, except as a favor. It's an old house and had can of worms written all over it, with some of the changes they wanted to do. Now, he warned me that mother-in-law can be unpleasant, but that was an understatement. She seemed to think that because I was being paid, I charged probably 1/10 of what a business would, that she could snap her fingers at me like a servant. I had a few unpleasant emails with her, but it was tolerable. She was rude when I was pointing out issues with their plans, but nothing too extreme. That changed when I started trying to find time for me to stop by and inspect a few areas of the house to verify some information. I offered times to stop by on the weekend, but that didn't work for her. Tried evening times, still a no. Nope, she wanted me to stop by during my office work hours because that was best for her. When I told her no, this gets done on the weekends or in the evening, she went from rude to incredibly hostile, telling me that she's paying me and that I work with her availability, not the other way around. CC'd my friend in on the chain, told him I was out and to have fun working with whoever they get. Friend apologized. I said no worries, not my problem anymore. She emailed back quite stunned that I was walking away, telling me that is not how business is conducted. I didn't bother responding. About 3 weeks later, I get an email from the husband, now asking me if I would reconsider, and he promises that his wife won't speak to me or be involved in any way. I hear from my friend that while the quotes come back much higher, which was tolerable for them, but it was how long the wait was. They just bought this house and wanted to move in as soon as possible, but it's an incredibly busy time of year for the industry. Turns out when companies you reach out to are drowning in work and you have a potentially convoluted and messy project, they aren't chomping at the bit to get your business. And now they're going to lose the trades they lined up because design would be a month or two out. I passed on the request as I struggled to believe she would be kept in check and had no desire to bail her out. My friend didn't care, said it was nice watching her attitude give her consequences that actually affect her. Of course, there's always going to be that entitled Karen that just doesn't really know all of the details. In this case, the fact that the OP was doing this as a favor and at a massive discount. This next one is by Mr. Coco1234. Note, English is not my first language. So this happened last week, but I still think about it sometimes and feel both secondhand rage and pity. A new guy joined my team at the start of last month who we will call Sam. Sam is a quiet guy, early 30s, polite to a fault, always looking over his shoulder like he's about to get in trouble. At first, I thought he was just shy, but within a week, I figured something was off. He'd get these phone calls every 30 minutes, like clockwork. Eventually, I asked him if everything was okay. That's when he admitted it was his mother. She needed to know what he was doing at all times. Like, literally. Where are you sitting? What are you eating? Who are you talking to? Type updates. He said he was raised that way and just never broke the habit. I could see him shrink into himself every time she called, like the life got sucked out of him in real time. Anyway, it's the month end and we had to stay back late to wrap up some department reporting. Everyone stayed a couple extra hours. It was quiet, we were all working, and suddenly Sam's phone rings again. He steps outside. 2 minutes later, he comes back in looking white as a sheet and says, "Hey, Mr. Coco, my mom wants to speak to you." I thought he was joking. He was not. He looked like he was about to cry. I took the call out of sheer disbelief. And oh boy, I wish I hadn't. This woman unleashed on me.
How dare you make my son work past office hours? He needs to come home and rest. You don't know what he's been through. Don't you know how dangerous the roads are?
I was too stunned to even respond properly. I just said, "Ma'am, I think Sam can explain the situation better," and handed the phone back. And that's when something amazing happened. Sam finally snapped. He didn't yell, but his voice was steady. "I need this job, Mom. You can't keep doing this. I'm staying late because that's my responsibility and everyone is here too. Please just stop." It was quiet for a second, and then he just ended the call. Honestly, I was proud of him. I know how hard it is to stand up to your parents, especially when they tried to control you your whole life. We wrapped up an hour later. I offered to take him out for a cold drink just to decompress, and he looked like someone who had finally removed a 20-year-old weight off of his chest. But when I dropped him off near his house, he gave me a small, awkward smile that just said, "Thanks, tonight's gonna be rough." I haven't heard his mom's voice since then, but he still gets those calls, just less frequently now. I really hope he makes it out okay. Some cages don't even have bars. You just carry them in your head. The fact that Sam's mom needs to know whatever he's doing, who he's talking to, every single little detail, it just screams control freak. And I guarantee if it was actually legal to have humans chipped to be able to monitor and record every single thing they do, every interaction they had, this entitled mom would definitely be on top of that. Good on Sam though for standing his ground. And our final one is from Rosie Hyman. This started about 15 years ago. I bought a house. In my town, most houses have street parking. I wanted a driveway. No more fighting snowplows, packing snow against your car, no more not being able to park near your house, etc. When I got the keys to my house, there was a car in the driveway. I asked my new, older neighbor if he knew who it belonged to. He said,
"Yeah, me."
He said the previous owners let him park it there while they were renovating it because he needed a space and they wanted people to think someone lived there. Worked for both of them. I told him, "Cool, but I'm going to need the space. Could he please move it?" He told me,
"I really don't know where I'd put it."
I told him, "Sorry, I understand. Please move it." We kept going over to the house taking measurements, etc., taking a few things each time, carrying them up the driveway around his car. I'd keep asking him. He kept saying he would work on it. Finally, 2 weeks later and many requests later, I knocked on his door. I told him tomorrow is the actual move-in day. I've got professional movers and a truck coming and the driveway would need to be cleared. He said, "Sorry about your luck. I have permission to park there." I told him it was really weighing heavy on me, having to argue with my new neighbor. But I owned the property now, and if the car wasn't gone in the morning by 8, I was having it towed. He said, "Fuck you, tough shit," and slammed the door. It was gone the next morning. He stood outside, and when I pulled in, he screamed at me,
"You'll rue the day you fucked with me."
Well, okie dokie. For the next 15 years, he made me miserable. Pointed spotlights at my back porch every time we sat out there. He even halfway painted his house. Not half the sides, but like patches on half of each side. I'm not shitting you. And he said to me, "So how do you like this paint job? You'll be looking at this till you die. See what this does to your resale value?" And laughed like a hyena. 8 years later and it's still not painted. He'd play the god-awfulest music at 6 a.m. on Saturdays and point the speakers at my house. He would fire up chainsaws at 6 a.m. on Sunday mornings, cutting pieces of wood for no reason. It was non-stop. He did off-the-wall shit it would take days to tell you about. I'd tried talking to them. I tried calling the police. I tried everything. He killed himself a couple months ago, and I feel bad about it. I spoke to his wife, told her I was sorry for her loss, that if she needed anything, just ask. If she needed help lifting anything, or anything at all, just ask. She looked me straight in the eye and said,
"If you'd have just let him park his car in your driveway, maybe he wouldn't have killed himself, so I don't need shit from you."
This morning, she threw a trash bag full of dog poop over into my yard, so it looks like the torch has been passed on to her. God help us. Yeah, I don't think this guy deleting himself was because of a parking spot. That just says and screams that there was a hell of a lot more going on than just a fucking parking spot. The fact that the wife thinks that's why, who knows, maybe she was the cause. One thing's for certain, entitled people suck. Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled People. If you liked the video, please drop a like. Share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.